Where you lead, I will follow anywhere that you tell me to. If you need me to be with you, I will follow. Oh, oh. Hey, friend, welcome back to another episode of the Watchaholic, a podcast all about the movies and TV shows we grew up watching and the ones that we just saw yesterday. I am Melody, and I am your host. Today's episode is going to be a fun one because I'm going to be talking about, I don't know if you guessed it already, but Gilmore Girls. That's right. Raise your hand if you were a fan of Gilmore Girls growing up. If you raise your hand, you were a good teenager because I hate to admit this, but I was very, very late, so late to the Gilmore Girls Party. I didn't watch the series until, don't hate me, but until the pandemic. I know, that's what it took. It took a whole pandemic for me to get through the whole of Gilmore Girls. And after watching it, I literally couldn't believe that I waited that long to watch it. It was so good, which is why I'm so excited to cover it today with all of you. But first, it's time for Say What? Here is some TV and movie news of the past week. Okay, so I am so excited for this one. I'm so excited for this one. So Amazon Prime, aka Prime Video, released the title for the new Lord of the Rings series, and it's going to be called The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you didn't listen to my last episode, but basically Lord of the Rings is my favorite series of fantasy, like everywhere and anywhere, and I cannot wait to watch the series. According to the showrunners, relative newcomers, what their names are, I looked this up online. J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, The Rings of Power unites all the major stories of Middle-earth's Second Age, which includes the forging of the rings, the rise of the Dark Lord Sauron, the epic tale of Numenor, don't know who that is, and the last alliance of elves and men. Guys, I am so excited for this series. When they first announced that they were going to be doing a Lord of the Rings series, I was like, all right, put it out. I'm ready to watch it. I am so hyped for this. I don't believe there is a release date yet. I hope it's this year. I'm not sure yet when it is, but like I said, I will definitely be there, and I will most likely be talking about it on this podcast. Second thing, Mission Impossible 7, if you are a fan of Mission Impossible, just so you know, Mission Impossible 7 and 8 have been delayed another year. Thank you, COVID. Thank you. Another year of delays of movies that were supposed to come out. Basically, Mission Impossible 7 was expected to open this year on September 30th, and next year Impossible 8 was going to be out on July 7th, 2023. But now, Paramount Pictures has announced that Mission Impossible will be delayed to July 14th, 2023, and that means Mission Impossible 8 is now being shifted to June 28th, 2024. Basically, the production company said in an official statement that it's because of, in response to delays due to the ongoing pandemic. You know, this has been a really big thread within all movies and TV shows, mostly movies and big movies that require a lot of, post-production. It's just, I think, taking a toll on a lot of the staff because a lot of people are just getting COVID and there's just delays on getting things, and yeah. Basically, COVID is still ripping the entertainment industry apart. So that's not fun. And I think also, aside from that, I think I had also heard that Wakanda Forever was also going through another delay because I think Lupita Nyong'o, I think, tested positive for COVID. So, another break in filming for that movie. Now, this is a really fun bit of news that I'm excited to talk about, and basically, it's The Batman. Now, The Batman's coming out in March, and it's so weird to say that it's starring Robert Pattinson as Batman because I still think of him as the guy from Twilight, and nothing against Twilight because I love Twilight, and I liked the way he played Edward. I don't have an issue with him. I think he's a great actor, but it's just weird to see him now being, Batman. Like, it's not a role I ever pictured him in, but I'm very excited to see his performance because the trailer itself does look very good. But basically, the Batman's going to run for 2 hours and 55 minutes. That's right, 2 hours and 55 minutes. That includes 8 minutes worth of credits. And this basically makes the longest Batman-led movie yet, surpassing The Dark Knight Rises, which was 2 hours and 45 minutes. And it's actually, I did not even realize that. For me, I don't know do you guys like long movies? Do you have an issue with those? It personally does not bother me at all. I like long movies. I like short movies. Guys, I used to watch Lord of the Rings extended versions in the movie theater in high school. So, like, sitting down and watching a movie for 2 hours and 55 minutes is fine with me. And I also did see Endgame in the movie theater, which has, I think, the longest run time for superhero movies. So, if you can get through Endgame, you'll get through Batman. What else? Oh, yeah. And lastly, this is just some fun news to throw around just because I'm a fan. But my favorite Jonas brother, Nick Jonas, and wife Priyanka Chopra had a baby girl via Surrogate. They said, surprise! They announced it over Instagram in a brief message, and I just want to say, good for them. They kept it really under wraps. No one knew. So good for them for keeping their privacy and doing their thing the way that they want to. I know Priyanka Chopra is a little bit older. She's 39 and Nick is 29. So I'm glad that they found a way for them to have their kid. And funny to say that they have a baby girl because it's just baby girls in the Jonas family. Kevin's got 2 girls, Joe has 1 little baby, and now Nick has a baby girl as well. So it's all girls for the Jonas boys. So yeah, guys, that was the round of news for Say What today. Now, of course, I think it's time. I just want to get into it. It is time to talk about Gilmore Girls. And I figured the way that I could do this was just to talk about some of my favorite episodes, shocking moments, and of course, talk about the whole team Dean, team Jess, or team Logan, because I have got some things to say about that. I also want to talk about that damn revival, because what in the actual hell? Some great takeaways, but also some very interesting and just bad decisions that I just do not understand. But let's get into it. So first things I want to talk about are my favorite episodes, because there are a couple of episodes that really shocked me and that I loved and that broke me, all of them, every single thing. But what doesn't make a good TV show if you're not feeling all of these things? So first episode I want to talk about is They Shoot Gilmore Girls, Don't They? It's season 3, episode 7. And this is the famous episode where they have the big dance where Lorelai and Rory have to stay awake to like win this competition, because Lorelai wants to be what's his name, the guy, what's his name, oh my god, I'm blanking on his name, but you guys know what I'm talking about, the weird guy from Stars Hollow. But basically at this dance, so much shit happens, but the main takeaways is that this is the dance where Dean finally breaks up with Rory because he realizes that she is like clearly in love or really, really likes Jess, because he's just in there the whole time and she's just looking at him. And I think it's an amazing episode. And one of my favorite quotes, which I will say, is by Dean himself when he breaks up, because he says, "So go ahead, be together. There's nothing standing in your way anymore, because I'm out." It literally is so, like, the writing is a little bit funny, especially when he delivers it, but god, it's gold. It is gold. And honestly, it was time. If he didn't break up with her at the end of that episode, I was gonna be like, all right, dude, you are really, really hoping for something to happen, because she's clearly into another guy. And of course it was into Jess, who I didn't mind at the time. Also, by the way, when I'm talking about these episodes, they're not all in order. I kind of just found the episodes and I'm just going to talk about them. But the second episode I want to talk about is I Can't Get Started, and it's season 2, episode 22. So obviously it was a season finale, and Gilmore Girls loves a good season finale, because, guys, if you don't remember, this is the episode where Suki gets married at the end, and Rory's dad, Christopher, breaks up with Lorelai at her wedding, well, at Suki's wedding, because his girlfriend's pregnant. Rory kisses Jess for the first time and then runs away. Yeah, because she realizes that she cheated on Jean. I'm not on Jean. Wow, I said Jean. I meant she cheated on Dean. I swear, this is when all of the cheating situation begins with Rory. I mean, the amount of times she cheats on her boyfriend by kissing some other guy she might be interested in. I guess I'm assuming this is just how we're going to get to the revival. This was like like the start of it all, because she got, we'll talk about the revival, but this episode was so good, and it was so heartbreaking at the same time, because Lorelai finally decides she's going to give Christopher and her a chance, and she's so excited, and then it's just like the rug is ripped from underneath her, and he's just like, I can't be with you. My girlfriend actually, or the girl that I was just with, is going to have my baby, and I have to go to her now. And she's just kind of left blindsided and doesn't know what to do. And that really, really broke my heart. I felt so bad. While watching the episode, I remember being like, there's no way this is going to end well. There's no way. And Christopher and Lorelai, that's a whole other conversation in itself. Well, don't worry, we'll talk about more episodes about that going forward here. Next episode, Those Are Strings, Pinocchio, and it was season 3, episode 22. Oh my god, am I talking about another finale? Because I sure am. And in this one was a heartbreaking one. In the finale, Rory breaks up with Jess over the phone. At this point, Jess has left Stars Hollow, that horrible episode where he just left and never told her, and she's just left in Stars Hollow, like not realizing, but he keeps calling her and hanging up or not saying anything. So Rory realizes that he is the one that is like calling her, and she just picks up the phone right before she's going to give her valedictorian speech, and she just says, hey, are you there? And he's just not answering. She's like, I think it is. And she says, and this broke my heart, she says, I think I may have loved you, but I just need to let it go. That's it, I guess. And she's just tearing up, hoping that Jess will say something, and of course he doesn't. And when she hangs up, the camera does pan and reveals that Jess was on the other line, and he hangs up the line, and he just kind of realizes, like, fuck. Basically, that's what he said. He's like, well, fuck. And he's in Venice, and he just walks away. And that is the last time we see Jess, actually, for a very long time. He doesn't come back, I think, until... Does he come back in season 4? I forget if it's season 4. The one where I know he comes back and randomly tells her to, like, run away with him. And there's that episode where he comes back and tells her that he loves her and then leaves again. And not one of Jess's proudest moments, as we know. He had some rough moments in Gilmore Girls. He did. He got there eventually, but it was a bit rough to begin with. Next episode, Raincoats and Recipes, season 4, episode 22. That's right. Another season finale, because they were just killing it with the finales. My God. But this episode was a holy shit type of episode. First of all, this was a good one, but Luke and Lorelai finally get together after 4 seasons of just him pawning over her, and you just knowing. I say pawning? I said pawning. I meant fawning over her, and he finally decides he's going to make that move, and he does, and he just tells her to hold, like, can you just stand still? And he kisses her, and it's a beautiful moment, and we've all been waiting for that. At that point, we were all waiting for it. So it was so nice to finally see. But as that is happening, the complete opposite is happening at Rory's house, because she's sleeping with Dean. Holy shit. Like, one of the worst mistakes ever. Why? Why? I don't understand why. She loses her virginity to Dean, and he's married. It's just, like, at this point, Rory has just, like, been the other woman, cheated on the guy. It's just a disaster for her. Just a disaster. I can't with that episode. It was, and I'm pretty sure everyone watching. Were you shocked by this? Please tell me if you weren't shocked, because send me a DM on my Instagram and tell me that and if you believe you saw this coming, because if you saw this coming, you are a psychic, because I sure as hell did not. Next episode, Let Me Hear Your Balalikas Ringing Out. It was season 6, episode 8. And now this is a good episode. This was a great episode. And why is that? Why is that? Because Jess returns back to Stars Hollow. I think it's Stars Hollow. And at this point, Rory has decided she is not going back to Yale. She has dropped out of Yale at this point, actually. And she's kind of just in this weird limbo where she's not kind of knowing what's going on. And Jess comes back, and this is when you finally see Jess at his best. It's season 6 episode 8, where you finally see that he's like matured. He tells her he wrote a book and that he couldn't have done it without her. And it is a beautiful moment in their friendship, because you realize how important Rory was to him. And I mean, at this point, I always knew he loved her, but you could just tell how much she actually meant to him. And he convinces her to go back to Yale. He's the one. He's the catalyst for her to be like, okay, I guess I should think about this. But he says this quote. He says, I know you. I know you better than anyone. This isn't you. What's going on? Oh my God. He said, I know you better than anyone. This isn't you. Like, oh my God. And I believe that. I truly believe that Jess knew who she was. And I liked that he called her out and was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? But thank you. Thank you, Jess, for coming back with your words of wisdom and helping Miss Rory go back to Yale. And obviously, one of my favorite episodes and also what the fuck moments was the season 6 finale called Partings, because Luke and Lorelai heartbreakingly break up because basically he didn't want to give Lorelai a wedding date, and she gave him an ultimatum and he couldn't answer. And what does Lorelai do? She decides she's going to go and sleep with Christopher. A moment of silence, please. A moment of silence for how ridiculous that decision was. Like, what the fuck? Hey, what the hell, man? She came out of left field with that one. With Christopher. I swear Christopher was that one guy who just was always in the shadows. Just always there, like, waiting. Like, she's going to come back to me. And boy, does she does eventually when she gets married to him. And it's literally a what in the actual fuck moment. Oh my lord. Ugh. But yeah, those are my favorite episodes. Now I want to talk about a year in the life. Yes, we will be talking about a year in the life in this episode, because I have thoughts. And like I said before, what the hell? I expected so much more. I wanted so much more for it. And when I first saw it, I actually thought it was like a 10 episode series or something. But it was only I think 5 episodes. I don't remember. It was for each season, so it just wasn't as long as I wanted it to be. But let's just dive into some good things and some bad things that they did in that revival. Number 1, you're telling me that Logan and Rory are both cheating on their respective partners because Logan has a fiance and Rory has a boyfriend. Again, a moment in silence for what the fuck. The show doesn't, and the crazy thing is, the show doesn't even address how wrong this is. Like, why is Rory doing this? Like, what does she become? It's it's silly, and honestly, the worst. They're just going through their lives. Like, she has no care in the world that she has a boyfriend, and she's literally sleeping with her ex from college, and he's getting married to some other woman, and doesn't, have any sense of being like, oh man, I shouldn't be doing this. It's just like, yep, this is what we do. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, no entiendo, horrible. Oh my god, it's just wrong on all levels, and the fact that the show never really talks about it just pisses me off. Lorelai decides that she wants to go on a trip. I think it's like the Pacific Trail or something, and she just go on a hike. Lorelai, hiking, who can't even fathom the idea of camping, she decides she's going to go on a hike, and I mean, it doesn't really matter because the hike actually never happens. But, at the end, at least she found some sort of peace in the hike, with her family and her dad, and realizing that she wants to marry, that she should marry Luke. But it was just kind of a little bit out of left field. Like, oh, I'm going to go on a hike and see if I can make up some decisions. It was her version of going on a eat, pray, and love situation, I'm assuming. I will say, though, for one of the best parts for me was actually Lorelai's mom. She was the best part for me. Her character really grew into her own after having to live on without her husband, and it literally brought me to tears. But, I love that she just sold everything, and then she just said, you know what? fuck it, I'm gonna live here by this ocean, and then I'm gonna volunteer at a museum. And she looked very happy, and that like it just gave me like it gave me peace. Like I felt like she had found her peace, and she might not have had the best relationship with Lorelai even to the end, but they still were able to kind of meet somewhere in the middle. Oh yeah, and then she also said, "Fuck you" to all those damn association people, that club she was a part of. Thank God, I hated those people. I hated that club. Thank God she called them all out. It was so fun, so funny. And then obviously, Jess. Oh, my beautiful Jess. Always there to guide Rory when she's lost. Because of him, she went back to Yale. Because of him, she comes up with the idea to write a book about her mom, which then leads to Lorelai being pissed about her writing about her in this book, which was such a stupid fight in my opinion, like just so stupid. But oh God, I was so happy when I got to see Jess again, and just seeing how he clearly is so in love with her. Like clearly, I mean, you saw the way he looked at her when Luke was like, "Oh, so what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, nothing. Like I'm over it. I'm over that." I mean, I would hope so. It's been like at least 10 years, maybe 10 years. I don't remember. But yeah, the way he was looking at her through the window, like my heart just sank, and it just made me be like, please God, please God, let there be a revival where this actually continues. But in that moment, you could just see that Rory to him will always be the girl who got away. Because he was just immature and like dumb in his teen years. I mean, I think he really loved her, and that scared him. I mean, he was like 17. Like, which 17-year-old knows how to treat every situation, especially with these family issues he had, But in the end, he came such a long way from the character that we had met in season 2, 3. And everyone said this. I read the blogs, but everyone said like, well, now Jess is way too good for Rory, because Rory was a shit show in this revival. So, yeah. And then, of course, they decided to end the series with those 3 words: "Mom, I'm pregnant." How dare they do that shit to me? To us. Like, how dare they? And now it's been like 5 years since that revival. So, are you wanting a revival? Let me know, because I'd watch it. And in my version, in this new version of the revival, Jess is Luke, Rory is Lorelai, and Logan is Christopher. Basically, she has Logan's child, but as they get older, it never works out, and Jess is the one that is always there to help Rory, and it's literally history repeating itself. Now, I do want to see this reboot, but I only want to see it if the same characters return and the show is better than that crap of a revival. Now, the big moment of truth, guys. This is the big moment of truth. Team Dean, Jess, or Logan? Now, let's break it down. Now, Dean was her first boyfriend. I consider Logan being kind of like the one who really challenged her, and I think Jess was the one who really understood her, and she did risk a lot. When a lot of people say that Logan was her first risk, or first big risk that she took, but I also do feel like Jess was as well, because he was that bad boy. He was the one that she felt like she shouldn't like I shouldn't like this guy, but she risked so much. There's that episode where she risks to go to New York and like misses her mom's graduation just to hang out with Jess. There was a part of her that I think Jess really brought out that I don't think the other guys did. And then they were both very intelligent together, and I don't know. The big question is that everyone always has is, in the end, who was the best for her? Now I will gladly sit here and say that young high school Jess was a horrible boyfriend, and he had daddy issues up the wazoo. I know he loved Rory though, and like truly loved her underneath all that crap bad boy stuff. I genuinely believed he loved her. And then you have Logan, who did challenge her in the way that she needed to be challenged, but he wasn't the best boyfriend at first. I mean, at the end, he even wanted to marry her. Which reminds me, what the hell, man? That last season, like, why not? Like, why was it like this whole ordeal if she didn't marry him at that end? Like, why? Like, why is that even a situation? I could not. I thought it was dumb and silly, and I hated it. I didn't understand. But Dean, now he started off like a cool guy. I really liked him at first. I liked them together. But then I will say kind of just faded out, and you could tell. And then he just became this like annoying guy who got jealous at everything. And let's not mention that he also had sex with Rory while he was married. Married to another woman, by the way, while still being in love with Rory. Goodbye. He served his purpose. End of that. So, who am I? What would I say I am? I am Team Jess after he leaves and doesn't come back till like season 6 and sorted his shit out. That's what I like to say when people are like, which team? I'm like, well, I'm Team Jess, but Team Jess after he leaves and doesn't come back till like season 6. And, I do think that he deserved a second chance at that point, but unfortunately, Rory at that time was long gone and in love with Logan at that time. Now, in the future, like I said, in a continued revival series, that might change, but yeah. All right, so I was so late to the Gilmore Girls Party, and I am so glad that I saw it and it was introduced to this town of Stars Hollow and the lives of Rory and Lorelai. This was an awesome show that I totally understand why everyone was in love with. So guys, I'm thinking, after doing this, because this was so much fun, I'm thinking of doing something similar like this, but with another famous show, One Tree Hill. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know, because that is a show that I actually saw while it was airing, and I loved it so much. I can rewatch that show like so easily anytime because it is that freaking good. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe and send in your reviews. You can also follow me on Instagram at the Watchaholic Podcast. And guys, don't forget, send me your DMs with your movies and shows that you'd like me to check out or just cover on my podcast. So I think that's it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.